Hey everyone, for those of you that don't know us, my name is David.
And I'm Jenny.
And we are full-time RVers and we travel the country in our travel trailer behind us. And over the past 3 years that we've been on the road, we have accumulated a fair number of RVing gadgets. So we're here to share a number of those with you today and let you guys know whether or not they're worth it. And if you're interested in picking some of them up for yourself, there will be links in the video description below. But let's get into it. The first RV gadget we're going to talk about has to do with our RV's air conditioning unit, which is why we're up on the roof right now. And that gadget is the MicroAir EasyStart. It is a soft starter that greatly reduces the startup amperage for your rooftop AC unit. And what that means is it allows you to run your air conditioning unit with a small generator, a small inverter, or off of 15 amp or 20 amp service without blowing a breaker. It was incredibly easy to install myself, and I'll actually put a link to that full install video right there if you want to check it out for yourself. The EasyStart costs $300 though, and that might sound a little salty to some of you, but even though it costs $300, in my opinion, it's still incredibly worth it. And that reason is because, again, it allows you to start your air conditioner with a much smaller and therefore less expensive generator. The generator we have is a Honda EU 2200i, which costs about $1,000. However, if we didn't have the EasyStart, that generator would not be big enough to start the air conditioner by itself. So we would have to buy a much larger generator like the Honda EU 3000, which is a 3,000 watt generator, and it costs $2,300. That's $1,300 more than the Honda EU 2200i. So by buying a smaller generator and pairing it with the EasyStart, we have saved $1,000. Not only that, but smaller generators are much more fuel efficient, so you'll save money on fuel as well, but they're also lighter and they take up less storage space. So with all of that taken into account, we absolutely think that the MicroAir EasyStart is worth it. And if you use promo code FATE at checkout, it'll save you $25. And if you end up picking one up for yourself, again, I do have that step-by-step installation video that will walk you through the install process.
The next gadget I want to talk about is an Instant Pot. Literally 2 months before we hit the road, 3 years ago, David bought me an Instant Pot for my birthday. And I was so excited because online, everybody was ranting and raving about how the Instant Pot is awesome. It's fantastic for RVers who are full timing. You can make really fast meals in it, and all of that is true. I loved my Instant Pot, but as you can see, I don't have anything next to me, and that is because we no longer have it. And as much as I loved my Instant Pot, I mean seriously, I could make chili in 21 minutes. That's insane, especially when it comes to like having to make chili takes like 4 to 6 hours just simmering it, so it really is amazing for full-time RVers. But the reason we don't have it anymore is because we almost never have full hookups, and it draws a lot of power from our batteries, meaning that the only time I could ever use it is when our batteries were not only full, but we also had full sun that day. So we ended up getting rid of it because I only had about 3 or 4 recipes that I would use it for. So we don't have it anymore. For us, it was not worth it. But for the majority of full-time RVers, especially ones that stay in RV parks or campgrounds and they have full hookups, it really, truly is an excellent kitchen gadget to have. We had the 4-quart Instant Pot, and even though that isn't the biggest one that you can get, it took up a large amount of space. I had to store it in our tallest cabinet, and because we only took it out about 3 or 4 times a year when we had full hookups, it really wasn't worth it for it to take up the space in a cabinet that I could be using for pots and pans or more food storage. So for us, again, not worth it, but for the majority of you full-time RVers out there, totally worth it.
And next is a propane conversion for our Honda generator. And even though we don't use our generator very much, because we have a complete solar system that powers everything that we need, sometimes we do get a string of cloudy days in a row and our batteries get down very low, so we got to break out the generator, fire it up, and recharge our batteries. And before we had the propane conversion on this generator, that meant we had to be dealing with gasoline every time that we needed to fire the generator up. And for some reason, every time I would fill this with gas, I would always get a little bit on my hands, and gasoline just smells awful. And even if you wash your hands with soap and water, it still doesn't can't get that smell off, it just lingers around. We would have to carry a small portable tank of gasoline in the bed of our truck, so that meant the bed of our truck always smelled like gas. And since we used our generator so infrequently, that means I would always have to have a gasoline stabilizer added to that gas, just adding a little bit of extra cost to storing gasoline. And not only that, but when you run a generator off of gasoline, the exhaust fumes just reek. They smell terrible and they're incredibly toxic. So if you've got your generator on one side of your trailer and the wind shifts and it starts to blow that exhaust towards your RV, it just comes right in through the windows, and now your entire inside of your RV smells like gas fumes. But now that we have a propane conversion kit on our Honda generator, we've completely done away with that gas can because our truck runs off of diesel, so there's no reason for us to have gas on hand anymore. Running off of propane, in my opinion, is so much nicer because, first off, we always have propane on hand because so many systems in our trailer run off of propane, and propane never goes stale. It can sit in those tanks for as long as you need it to, and it will never go stale. The exhaust that comes out of the generator when running off of propane is so much cleaner than running off of gasoline. Granted, it's still toxic, but it doesn't have that intense smell. So if the wind shifts and it starts blowing that exhaust toward your trailer, you can't smell it the way that you can smell the gasoline fumes. Installing this propane conversion kit onto this Honda was extremely easy too, and I've got a link right there, which again will show you step by step, walk you right through the process. It was very easy, can be done in about an hour or two, and the conversion kit costs about $260. For us, this propane conversion was worth it because we really wanted to keep a Honda inverter generator as our backup generator because there's just no beating Hondas. They have been the leader in small engines forever. So this Honda is the best quality 2200 watt generator on the market, and then coupling it with a propane conversion just makes it incredible. So if you have a Honda 2200 or 2000 watt inverter generator that you want to convert to propane as well, if you use promo code FATE at checkout, it'll save you $15. And again, we have that step-by-step install video that will walk you right through the process.
Another gadget I want to talk about is our Berkey water filter, and it uses carbon filters and gravity feeds water that you put in this top tank into this bottom tank to give you fresh, clean drinking water. It has this nice little spout here at the bottom so that you can take that nice, clean, fresh drinking water and put it into whatever container you want. Now, Berkey touts that you can put whatever kind of water you want into it, whether it's from a river or a lake, and it will filter out everything basically. Bacteria, viruses, heavy metals, farm runoff, you name it. It'll filter it out and give you nice, clean, tasteless drinking water. We only drink water out of our Berkey for ourselves, and we only give our pets water out of the Berkey. And the reason being is because we have obtained water from some questionable water sources, whether it be a place that says that it's potable water, but it comes out brown, or we've come to a place where it doesn't specify if it's potable or non-potable, and we put it in our fresh tank anyway. So now with our Berkey, we don't actually have to question whether or not the water in our fresh tank is safe to drink. We simply only drink out of this. So that means that the water in our fresh tank is just used for showering, rinsing dishes, brushing our teeth, filling the Berkey, but the drinking part of it comes from the filtered portion of the water. The Berkey we have is the 2 1/4 gallon Berkey, and we have to fill it about once a day. Now we have 2 carbon filters in it, but it can hold 4. And per Berkey's website, per pair of carbon filters, it can filter 6,000 gallons. That means since we fill it roughly once a day, it will last us roughly 3,000 days. Guys, that's over 8 years for just these 2 filters, and that's just to change the filter. I don't have to change it before 8 years rolls around, and that's fantastic. The 2 1/4 gallon one is about $278 right now, but they make much larger ones if you have a larger family. They make much smaller ones if you're solo on the road, but having clean drinking water that you don't ever have to change the filter on, that just seems like a huge win for me, because $278 over 8 years, that's just a no-brainer.
The next gadget we're going to talk about isn't an RV specific gadget. However, if music is as important to you as it is to us, you're going to want to have one of these on the road with you. Now, if your RV is anything like ours, the factory speakers that came in it are just garbage. You know, they can't get very loud and they have absolutely no bass. We have 2 speakers on the inside of our trailer and 2 on the outside. And, you know, while they kind of get the job done, they actually really don't. So I don't even know why I said that. They really don't. So we got this little thing to solve that problem. Surprisingly, as small as this little JBL speaker is, it puts out a decent amount of sound and a good amount of bass too. And we love how portable it is. It's incredibly easy to just move this around your RV, you know, take it into whatever room or whatever side that you want to have the music on at. And if you want music to be nice and loud and bassy throughout your entire rig, you can actually pick up multiples of these and they sync together wirelessly. So that's pretty cool. We've had 3 of these playing at one time all throughout our campsite, and they really do get the job done. This is the JBL Pulse 3, and they cost about $120 new. And this is actually the generation older though. They now have the JBL Pulse 4 out, which costs $200. So if you want to pick one of these up, then you just need to decide what's more important to you. Do you want the newest and best one, or do you want to save a little money like what we did and get the generation older? However, if you want real sound and real bass, maybe you're an audiophile, then you're gonna want to get one of these. This bad boy is the JBL Party Box 300, and for us, it is just incredible. The JBL Pulse 3 worked for us for a little while, but you know, it just didn't get the job done for us. We like to crank our music, and we like to have a lot of bass. This thing is an absolute beast. We were blown away by the sound quality, the sound level, and the amount of bass that this thing puts out. It is pretty big, we have to admit, and there's not a lot of storage in our trailer. However, we just love music that much that we're willing to dedicate a nice, sizable amount of space to have this thing along for the ride with us. The JBL Party Box 300 is still portable. It's got handles on the top and the bottom, and it connects to your phone with Bluetooth wirelessly, just like the Pulse 3 and the Pulse 4 do. And you know, it is kind of heavy, but you can lug it around if you want to move it around your campsite or if you want to move it around your rig. It has a lithium battery in it as well that you can just recharge with a regular 120 volt wall socket. So you don't have to have it plugged in to play it. And the amount of time that this thing can play on battery alone is extremely impressive. We've had this thing going all day and it still didn't run out of battery. The Party Box 300 costs $400, which is actually kind of surprising when the new Pulse 4 costs $200. So if you were thinking about getting 2 of these, you could just get one of these bad boys. So in the end, were these worth it for us? Absolutely.
Another kitchen gadget I want to talk about is our Cuisinart Griddler. And this little thing is something that we use all the time. We'll use it for eggs in the morning, we'll use it for pancakes, we'll cook burgers on it, fish, sandwiches, you can make paninis on it. But what we use it mostly for is when we have to cook outside, because we don't have an outdoor grill. We don't have any sort of a grill outside that we can use propane for or anything either. So being able to use this inside and outside is fantastic for us. The Griddler does pull about as much electricity as our Instant Pot did, but it has to run for a fraction of the time. It cooks things very quickly and it's much easier to clean. These pull off real easy and they just scrub them down and dry them off. We've had this little Griddler for about 3 years now, and over those 3 years it has saved us a decent amount of propane, because whenever we have a full sun day, we like to get it out and cook with it. And for those of you that stay in RV parks or campgrounds with full hookups, having something like an electric appliance that you can cook with versus a stove that uses propane will also save you a lot of money propane-wise. This electric Griddler costs about $70, and it works just as well as it did the day we bought it about 3 years ago. Plus, it saves us money on propane. So for us, it's totally worth it.
And the last RVing gadget we want to share with you guys are these Reallink security cameras. Now these are great in theory because they have a removable battery, so you don't have to have them plugged in for them to be powered. These batteries have an incredible amount of life, so you very infrequently have to charge them. And even if you do plan on putting these cameras in sort of a hard to reach area or somewhere that you can't really access very easily, you can purchase a solar panel that is made by Reallink to power these, and then that solar panel will keep this camera charged indefinitely, so you don't have to remove the battery and charge it manually. These cameras can connect to the internet via Wi-Fi, so you can connect your cell phones to them, and it displays what the camera is showing. There's a ton of settings, so you can play around, dial them in exactly how you want on the Reallink app that you can download on your phone. And we originally got 2 of these, one that we can mount on the roof of our trailer to sort of watch the outside, and if anyone were to pull in a car or walk into the frame that this is watching, they automatically begin filming then to conserve battery. They're not always filming because that would just eat up so much storage space and kill the battery. So they're kind of idle until they notice motion. Then they start recording and you get a notification on your cell phone as well. And we also have one inside to just kind of watch the inside, so if someone were to break in, it could see that also. The main reason we got these security cameras is to protect our pets. Like, all of the stuff that we have inside of our trailer is insured, and in the end, it's just a thing. So if we were to lose our belongings for some reason, you know, that's a huge bummer, but again, they're insured and we can replace them. However, our pets, we can't replace. So we want to know if anything fishy is going on near our rig. Now, when we first got these, we were very happy with them, and actually we were pretty ecstatic because we had kind of a lot of anxiety when we would leave our rig behind in a place that we just didn't feel very good about. We knew that we had something watching our rig and that would notify us if any motion was detected. However, as time went on and we used these more and more, they began to just become a huge pain in the neck. And that's because they just wouldn't remember the Wi-Fi of our mobile hotspots that we use to connect to the internet. So these would connect to our hotspot for internet, and then our phones would be able to connect to them. But this didn't remember any of the information from our hotspot. It wouldn't remember the name of the hotspot or the password. So we would have to reset these. We would have to factory restart them. They've got a little button on the inside that you stick a little like a paper clip into, and you have to factory restart these so that they forget all hotspots and they don't try to connect to anything else. And then you re-put in this information manually, wait for it to connect, and it's just this big long process. And even when we would do that, these still sometimes would not connect to our hotspot. It would just keep saying, connection to the hotspot failed, connection to the hotspot failed. And you know, we want to get out of the RV. We want to go do something. You know, we probably are going to try to go out and film something. So we've got like a schedule we're trying to keep to. And when we're spending an hour before we leave just trying to connect these to our hotspots, it's a huge pain in the neck. So these cameras cost $70 new, which isn't that much. That's a pretty affordable price. And if you want that solar panel to keep this charged forever, then you can buy the bundle, which is one camera and the solar panel, for $115. So are these worth it? In our opinion, no. And that's because they just won't work. And if something doesn't work and causes you trouble every single time you go to use it, it's not worth it. Are security cameras worth it to put on your RV? In my opinion, absolutely. For the short amount of time that these did work for us, we loved it. But if it's not going to work, then I don't want to deal with it. So security cameras, definitely get them if you have any sort of anxiety. You want to have something watching your rig while you're gone. Just don't get these. And we plan on researching different brands here shortly. And if we find one that we like, we'll definitely tell you.
So those have been some of the RVing gadgets that we use all the time and whether or not they're worth it for us. And if you're interested in any of those, all of those links are down in the description below for you. But that is all we have for you today, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.